Hey there. So yeah, I'm at an open house right now, and as the title of this video suggests, it implies real estate is my fourth career um, track, I guess. So I started off in the teaching field, and then I went into the school counseling field, and then the nonprofit sector, and then I've been licensed since 2015 in real estate. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I decided to start in real estate and how it is and what to expect if you're considering it. So at the time in 2015, I was working with a friend, helping her with a couple of her other businesses. One was a networking business, and then another one was event planning, and her third business was real estate. And so I started helping her a little bit with that, kind of as a transaction coordinator, and I ended up getting licensed under her, and then we worked together, me as a fully licensed agent. And then when we parted ways, I decided to go ahead and take a chance and pursue real estate. My license was good for 2 years. I'd never been self-employed before. I was a little bit nervous about that, but I figured I might as well give it a shot since I had taken the time to do all the classes and take the state and national test and passed. So yeah, I started in real estate. I've been at a few brokerages over the last 10 years. The one I'm currently hanging my license at, I've been with for almost a year now. I think it's a year actually this month, which is pretty exciting. So it's important to know that real estate isn't for everyone. It's definitely rejection heavy work, both when you're representing clients, trying to get an offer accepted, if you're trying to earn clients by going on interviews and show your value and kind of what you provide and see if you have a good enough vibe. So if you decide to pursue this, you have to be prepared that you're going to hear a lot of no's. People that you maybe previously worked with might start working with somebody else. And yeah, you just have to stay focused and motivated because it is rejection heavy work. But I love it because, I problem solve. I'm learning all the time. Here in Portland, we have houses built over various decades, so we find a lot of interesting things. Some that were okay at the time, and some that were definitely DIY and not even up to code at the time they were done. So, yeah, I like that I still use my skills and education in teaching and school counseling to help clients through a stressful process, explaining things, helping them understand and know what's coming up next. In this profession, you definitely have to be a people person and keep your cool, especially when things get stressful or if you're working with someone who's difficult, typically an agent, because if you have a really difficult client, although it's hard to do, you can always decide, no, I'm not going to work with this person, it's just not worth my time or energy, and they can do the same. But yeah, I like that I can use some of those same skills and education from my 2 degrees in this industry. It's always exciting when it's key day and I get to hand off keys to a client, especially if they've been searching or maybe had offers rejected, and we finally get to the finish line. And I'm the type of agent that will help clients move, follow up with them, throughout the year, and yeah, I just don't disappear once the transaction's over. So I'm very grateful that I've had some repeat clients and, of course, referrals, because it is a referral-based business too. So yeah, I decided to, go into the real estate because I already have the license and because I've always loved architecture and design. I'm a pretty creative person, so I like seeing what people come up with as far as style and decor. I really like working with people for the most part. I'm definitely an extrovert, so that helps, and I like learning all the time, being stimulated. I'm definitely not a person that is meant to work in an office 9 to 5. All the career tests I've taken, that's kind of the consensus, is that I'm not that type of person. And then yeah, it's always great to find new folks for a property if I'm helping sellers, or to have buyers find the house that works out with them and for them so wonderfully. Even after a transaction or during, I'd love to be a resource both for contractors or questions, things that come in the mail. Yeah, so it just has a nice variety for me. Each day is not the same. I love that I can honor my sleep schedule, and it's remote, so I can still travel, or if family's in town, take 2 hours to hang out with them. I love how flexible it can be when you're not up against deadlines and the end of contingency periods. Yeah, so now I guess some little tips for real estate if you're thinking about, buying or selling, especially if you're selling a home, you have to make sure you're ready for it. You're ready for people to come through the house and see it. And if you're still living in the house, that can mean, being ready in a 2-hour windows notice to have the home shown. Here in Oregon, we can put in our settings, if 24-hour notice is required or anything like that. Buyers will notice little issues of deferred maintenance and stuff, and because I've been doing this so long, attended so many inspections, I can pick out things that I think will come up in appraisals or that home inspectors will call out. And so if you can minimize the amount of those issues that are visible right off the bat, whether it's painting or missing outlet covers or windows that don't latch, things like that, handrails, any little thing like that that you can do to make it more presentable and welcoming will go a long way. I advise, all my buyer clients, even with new construction, that there's things that are gonna come up. No house is perfect, even if it's brand new. But certainly, especially for first-time home buyers, if they're not handy or in those professions, knowing that they don't see a bunch of projects right off the bat can be better for you as a seller and for them as keeping it, your property as an option. And then a higher asking price doesn't always mean a higher selling price. Properties sit on the market for a while. There's always typically concessions and stuff. And so even if a house is pending, it doesn't mean that it's pending at that price it was listed at. And if you overprice right off the bat, it can mean that your house sits for a while and loses the momentum. So pricing, depending on your situation, is super important, and you should have a professional person that can help you figure out what that looks like and what the timeline is to, consider price reductions or things like that. So, yeah, overall though, it's been a nice change. I actually just renewed my license. It expired at the end of this month. And so I renewed my license. I paid my quarterly dues to my local MLS, so I have access to the lockbox and our listings on the back end. So yeah, I'm at least going to do this for another 2 years or so. But it's been a good change for me. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about career paths, about real estate, whether you're buying or selling, or you're thinking about, exploring maybe working in this industry and what that process is like. So let me know if I can help or support you, and appreciate you watching this if you made it all the way through. And see you on the flip side. Bye.